It's me again, Mega Manoa. Thank you for joining me on another high-tech lesson. And today we're gonna do a program that's called Earth Watch. We're gonna watch the Earth and all the beautiful and natural resources that come and that we have here on our good old planet Earth. But before we do that, grab the bag. About to grab is the one that has a cup in it, a piece of foam, a straw, a stick, and a bunch of other stuff. Grab that one. And also, not included, we need to grab a cup of water, pair of scissors, and a tablespoon. Well, that's it. Once you got all those things, then we can get started. Now, we're gonna talk about how amazing our planet Earth is. Do you know why it's amazing? It's because I live there. Of course. Well, maybe you too. Yeah, you're special too. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we make it special, but not only that, we have a lot of amazing natural resources all over that people have been using for many years. And even now, we continue to use to improve our lives. And one of these natural phenomena that we have been using for thousands of years is the wind. Yeah, the wind, not really my wind, but wind that is out there. We've been using it for thousands of years. As an example, we use it for sailboats, right? To go across the river or the lake or the ocean or the universe. Not the universe, just the ocean, right? But what happens is that the wind helps the sailboat to move forward, right? But not only for sailboats, windmills, right, have been used by ancient Chinese and Persians to grind grain into flour or to pump water. And even nowadays, we still use windmill to generate electricity. Well, what's really going on with the windmills? Well, the windmills are basically a structure that is using the wind power and converting it into rotational energy by means of the vanes that we call sails or blades. Yeah. So what happens is that the wind goes straight into it and it forces the sail to rotate, which makes some energy, and we use it to do different things, maybe grind some grain, right, or to pump water, or even better for us, create some electricity. So that being said, let's make one. Let's make our windmill. These are the parts that we are going to be needing. Grab your pair of scissors. There are 4 small sticks that are pointy. There are also 2 pieces of paper that we need, the foam circle, this straw, whatever color you had, this clamp that we have here, and the bobbin, and finally, our bag of glue. These are the parts that we're gonna be needing, okay? So what we wanna do first is we wanna grab this clamp and take the bobbin and try to put it from the 2 parts that you can squeeze together of the clamp and just kind of push those together and put the clamp right through all the way to the middle. That way, it's able to spin right inside of there. Secondly, what we want to do is we want to take that and put it into this circle of a foam and just kind of squish it into there because it kind of fits perfectly into there until it goes in the middle of this foam. And you can check if it's good, if you're able to spin it, and it freely spins just like that. Next, we want to put this into our straw. Just close the clamp and push it in, push it in, push it in. Make sure that the bobbin didn't really move from the middle of the foam, but you should be able to spin it and it should freely spin like that, okay? Then what we wanna do next is we wanna put these sticks and poke them into the foam on 4 sides. Kind of like north, south, east, and west. Top, bottom, right, and left, okay? So just wherever you poke it, try to make it straight into there, okay? So you can poke it in like that. And then I like to do the other side. So kind of like that, just poke it in, okay? And then also poke it on the other side over here. Try to be straight as you can. And finally, one more over here. Now later on, we could also add some extra glue onto these, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. But that way it could help it to really stick in there, just in case it starts to fall out. So now, if you spin it, you should still be able to have your foam spin. If it's not spinning, then maybe you've poked the sticks in too far, okay? So just pull them out just a little bit. The next step would be to cut these pieces of paper in half. So go ahead and grab your scissors. 1 and 2, easy cuts. Then what we're going to be doing after that is we are going to be taking our glue and putting it onto one of the sides of the stick and just putting the paper on. But at the same time, what we could do is just in case these little pieces of stick come out, what you could do is you could put a little glue either on the hole that you just made or on the stick and just push it back inside. That way it really sticks in there and it doesn't come out, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue inside of these holes that I just made and poke them back in. So how do we apply the glue? Just take the glue, as usual, turn it to the side, squeeze a corner, make sure that there's no glue coming out or no glue in the way. And take your scissors again and cut a little piece off of that corner. And go ahead and squeeze the glue onto the hole where we had the stick come through, just a little dab, okay? That's good. And just take your stick, let me put this down, take your stick and push it in. See, it's wrapping around my stick, nice and well. And do the same thing with the other holes. Another one right here. Okay. And poke it in. Got some glue on there. And 2 more. 1 and 2. Like that. Just take this, poke it in. And I'm gonna put that there. And 1 more. There we go. Now we got glue in the holes and also in on our stick. If you got a little bit of glue on your fingers, don't worry about it. Just rub your fingers and it will come right off. Then we want to apply some of the glue like how I already have on this stick here, and then just take your paper and put it on top. Easy peasy. And do the same thing with the other sticks. So I'm just going to go ahead and put all the glue on. So 1 over here, there's 1, here's another, and 1 more. And just go ahead and take the paper and put it right on top. And you could be color coordinated. You could put blue across blue. You could put the yellow across the yellow, however you want to. Okay, but of course you gotta be very gentle with this because it's not dry yet. Okay, and eventually we should have something like this, but mines are kind of falling apart. So if you squeeze really hard, it should hold in place. So squeeze it. Let me try this one too. Ready? It's holding in place. Oh my gosh. 1 more. Ta-da! So now, why is this a windmill? Remember, a windmill takes the wind power and converts it into rotational energy. Just rotating. So if I use my wind, if I blow on it, see how it's rotating, right? So this is exactly what goes on with a windmill. And they would use that energy to either, maybe grind some grain, right? Pump some water, or even for us nowadays, we use it to generate electricity, and it's all for free because the wind is always there everywhere on our planet Earth. Something else that the Earth has a lot of are rocks and minerals, and there are special scientists out there that study these rocks and minerals. We call them geologists. We talked about this not too long ago, you and me together, right? Now, these geologists are pretty awesome because they have really cool ways of describing and classifying these rocks and minerals. And one of the methods that they use is something called the Hardness Test, which was a system that was made up by a guy by the name of Friedrich Moss. And he was a German mineralogist who lived about 200 years ago in 1822, a long while back, which basically describes how hard or how soft a rock and mineral is, right? So he made a scale between 1 to 10, 1 being very, very soft that you could even take your fingernail and scratch it and it will start to fall apart. And 10 being something that's way too hard, right? That you can't really break it with anything else, right? So an example of something that's a 1 on that scale would be something that we call talk. It's pretty shy because he doesn't really like to talk. Just kidding, just a rock. Okay, but something that is a 10 would be my head. No, not my head. Something like diamond. Mama probably has some diamonds, right? That's really, really, really hard. That's a 10 on the hardness test. So you know what we're gonna do? We are gonna do an experiment where we're going to make something that is a number 1 on that scale, meaning once you make it, you're gonna be able to scratch it off. So here we go. So the mineral that we're gonna be making that is a number 1 on the hardness scale is Sidewalk chalk. If you've ever played around with chalk, you could probably scratch it and it will fall apart right away. That's why it's the number 1 on the hardness test. But we're gonna make our very own sidewalk chalk. Woo! So first thing we need to do is we need to grab all of these things, which is the bag of powder that we had, which is this one, and we got 2 cups, 2 very small cups, and then a bigger plastic cup, and a stick. We need the stick, a tablespoon, and a cup of water, all right? So first thing you wanna do is you wanna grab that bag of powder and pour it into the bigger cup. The bigger cup. This is a 3-ounce cup, so just put it right inside of there. Be very careful how you pour it in. You know what, I'm gonna close off the top, that way it's just a little bit easier and it doesn't spill everywhere, because this will make a mess. We don't want that to happen. There you go, a little bit more.
Come on guys, you could do it.
There we go. And that's good. Once you put it in, just lightly tap the sides so it makes it nice and even. Be careful when you do that. But that is the first step. Then now we want to add some water inside of this. So how much water? We want to use 2 scoops of the tablespoon. So 2 tablespoons of water into there. And once you mix it, you gotta go really slow, okay? So first, let's take the 2 tablespoons. Now try to be as to the top of the tablespoon as you can. So meaning fill the spoon completely, okay? Don't just take a little bit, right? Make sure that you really get deep in there so it almost comes straight to the very, very top. So a good way to do that is by making sure that your cup is close to full. That way you could scoop up as much as you can of that. So remember, 2 scoops. Here's our second scoop. And there we go. Okay. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to mix this, but mix it slowly because we don't want to splatter everywhere. So take your stick, put it inside, and slowly mix it. Just very slowly mix this. Okay. And just keep on mixing it over and over until it really mixes. And really try to get to the bottom, to the sides. Don't just mix on the top. Don't just lightly mix like that. Make sure you get all over on the bottom, the sides of the bottom, even the outside of the cup, the inside of the cup. Okay, mix it really, really well. But yeah, just keep on mixing it until you don't really see too many chunks, okay? And mine, I don't really see too many chunks anymore, which is great, all right? So after a few seconds, a few minutes maybe even, then you could stop. We just want to thoroughly mix it and it will be good, okay? So all you need to do next is just take out the stick, okay? And you could just pour it onto the 2 small souffle cups. Now, if yours is a little bit hard to take out, then you could use that stick again to kind of use it like a spoon to scoop it out, right? But if it's watery enough, then you should just be able to pour it right into the cup all the way to the top. Okay, and that's good. And same thing with the other one. And that's good. If you got some extra, maybe fill it all the way. Oh yeah, that's good. There we go. Then once you poured it all in, you might get a little bit extra of the sidewalk chalk inside of here. Just let it sit there also, and then you can get some extra sidewalk chalk right inside of there. But what we need to do now is just to wait. We just gotta wait a little bit, maybe a few hours, maybe even check later on tonight once you finish. If it's dry, then it's gonna be good. So here's one I made not too long ago. Obviously you can see it's already nice and dry there. And so what do we do with this? Well, we specifically wanted to use this souffle cup, okay, which is this paper cup, so that you can actually just take that off. You can just, peel it right off of that piece of paper, like so. Just stretch the edges. That's what I do. I just stretch the edges like that, and it becomes really easy to take off. Just take this, go outside in the sidewalk, maybe in the runway of your garage. Just go ahead and start drawing. What do you draw? Mega Manoa. When in doubt, always draw Mega Manoa, right? Whatever you want, of course. But yeah, we got ourselves our own sidewalk chalk that is a #1 on the hardness test. Why? Is because if you take your fingers, if you scratch it, look at that. It's coming right off. Just with my fingernails. That's why it's a #1 on the hardness test. This is pretty soft compared to a lot of other rocks and minerals. But there you go. You know what this is? This is mica. Introduce yourself, Mica.
Hi, I'm Micah.
Mica is a silicate mineral, and silicate minerals make up 95% of the Earth's rocks. And they have a very interesting and unique properties. Like he has a mustache and eyeball. No, he doesn't. But some of those interesting properties is that we call it a sheet silicate. And that's because of the way that they're formed. Look at this. If I pull it out, it makes little tiny layers. And these layers are actually pretty light and pretty soft. They're actually pretty flexible too. Another thing about this mica is that it is heat resistant, and it also does not conduct electricity. So let's play around a little bit with this mica. Now let's play around with this mica. It's inside of this bag, okay? Grab that bag that has the mica inside of it and the paper clip. Why? It's because we're gonna do a scratch test this time. Another method that geologists use. And so first, let's take a look at this mica. Go ahead and open up the bag and take it out and see what it is that we've got here. All right, so this is the mica that I just talked about. And remember, it's pretty thin, right? Very light. But you'll notice that there are little tiny layers inside of there. So you could kind of take your fingernails and sometimes you could get it to kind of separate. And you'll see the different layers in that. Oh, I think I got it right there. Oh, wow. There's like 4 layers here. Let me just take off one first. Okay. It's pretty thin still. There's actually 2 layers within this one, but you'll notice that you could see through this. If you hold it up to the light, you could see through it, but it's kind of blurry, which is what we call translucent. So this is pretty translucent. You could kind of see through it. And same thing with the whole piece, of course. But you'll notice that there's a lot of different layers within it. You could probably even break this down into 2 more, and I think this one could even break down into 3 more, right? So maybe try one to see how many layers you have inside of it. But the second thing that we're gonna be doing is the scratchness test. Okay, so we're gonna scratch this to see if it's really hard or if it's kind of soft, right? Remember Frederick Moss's scale, right? The hardness test. So let's see if this is gonna really come off or if it's not really gonna come off. Okay, so take your paper clip, scratch. Well, is it making scratches? Clearly, you can see it's making some streaks, but not only that, it is falling apart. There's little pieces coming right off of it. So this is definitely not that hard. It's a very low number on the hardness test, but also on the scratch test, it's making some streaks. So, well, it didn't really measure up too much. And another cool thing you could see with this is that it's pretty flexible. You could kind of bend it, right, a little bit, which is usually kind of weird because rocks don't usually do that. But mica is pretty flexible. again, these are some cool things, right, that we are able to find in most of the rocks on our planet Earth. Pretty cool stuff we went over today, right? All of the Earth's natural resources. I definitely had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun. And until next time, this has been our High Touch, High Tech program with Mega Manoa. And I'll see you at home.